Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, June 6th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith will be here momentarily, and this has honestly been no joke, word of no lie. I think we've attempted like for 12, 13, 14, 15, 20, 30 different times over the last 2-3 years to get the man you see on the screen on the show for the first time. But here he is, at long last. Casey Bailey in Reno, Nevada, playing, of course, this past season for the Tahoe Night Monsters of the ECHL with another friend of the show, Luke Adam. They've been longtime buddies. Luke's been on the show, of course, a few times. Matt Robinson, since he's been down in Reno, they've become friends as well. So it's a nice little friends of the show group that we've got going on down there right now. But Casey Bailey with us here on the show. Casey, what's going on? Good to see you. How are you? Things good?
Things are great. Like you mentioned, I played in Tahoe last season. Ended up falling in love with the area, and we just moved out to Reno with my family. So exciting times, moving times. I've got a baby on the way, and I've got a lot of moving parts going on. But I'm happy, and things are going well.
Yeah, no doubt. So just tell us about the season that was and life in Reno, the season that was there in Tahoe with the team this year. I know you played with Luke Adam, of course, the captain of the team as well, by the way, for the Tahoe Night Monsters. It was a solid season, got into the playoffs. I know you got bounced by the Kansas City Mavericks, but a word of note, they're in the final right now in the Kelly Cup final. So that's a damn good team. No shame in that. But tell us about the season. How did it go?
Yeah, I mean, obviously played in Europe for the last 7 years, and Luke was one of my teammates there, and he played here in Tahoe last year, and he, kept pushing me, hey man, come play in Tahoe. I'm like, I can't come back to the coast. I can't come back to the coast. Like, I've got a family. It doesn't, the salary doesn't support that. But I knew I probably had 1 year left in me, and I wanted to make sure it was a fun one, and being given the opportunity to come play with Luke one more time and everything he told me about Tahoe and everything everybody else told me about Tahoe. And we ended up coming up here in late August after not really getting any Europe deals that were kind of moving the ticker. I was kind of sick of bringing my family over there and going through all the hassles of that.
Cost-benefit analysis,
though, right?
Tahoe
this year.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's like cost-benefit analysis, right? Like you're probably going to get more pay over there, but the hassle of the travel, the long time away from being in the States, being in North America versus, hey, a fun season, maybe less money, but fun season, being with a long-time pal of yours, playing together. So you got to kind of weigh the two, right?
Yeah, and, like in reference to the show, being a sports fan and, being able to watch the games on real time is a huge benefit. You think of the Super Bowl, you think of the Masters, you think of March Madness. I thought of all those things when I could be home and watch that at a normal hour. It was very enticing to me. And
instead of 4 in the morning.
When I got to the area, and, I came over to what they call the high desert here. The team had us living in Carson Valley. It's about a 25, 30-minute drive from the rink in Tahoe, which is, if you've never been, one of the most spectacular places in the U.S., and I've seen a lot of the U.S. And, Lake Tahoe is one of the most blue, crystal clear lakes you've ever seen, and it's just surrounded by mountains and pristine. It's gorgeous. You got the Edgewood Golf Course right there. And jumping into the season, we had a lot of fun. I mean, the coast comes with the ups and downs, and you've got some bozos running around with their head off a few times. The little thing I was worried about, being an older guy, trying not to get injured. And, you've got guys trying to make it. I understand that. But like had a blast. It's always fun playing back in the U.S. You're playing with young guys, playing with Vegas prospects and trying to mentor them and just show them and help them build off the experience I've had throughout my career and just also have a good time with my buddies. I mean, every road trip, I think with me and Lukey, we were going out to awesome dinners and having a good time. And it felt like, a little bit of a boys trip every time we were out. It was a great experience.
So where are you at with the playing status now that the off season has hit? Are you undecided? You're going to give it one more year? Are you thinking about, that might be it?
It's not like I've had this like super long NHL career where people need to hear my retirement announcement. I think I do have maybe some followers and some fans, and definitely have fans here in Tahoe that want me to come back and play. But the truth is, I have taken a job in Reno, which is more of a 9 to 5 kind of an office sales job that I'm going to try to, really dig my teeth into and start grinding on that. I'm a rookie all over again and trying to figure out the ropes. But
you got Matt to
being
give you some advice. Matty Rob can give you some advice. He's been toiling through the sales industry for a long time now.
Yeah. I'm still looking to get together with Matty and grab a beer, and he's got to tell me more about the area. He's been living here for a while. But there's always that slight chance. It's the ECHL, right? There's guys that get hurt. We did it a few times this year. You need a player. You need a guy that, we had Chris Brown, one of me and Luke's longtime buddies, come play with us in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He drove up from his hometown, Dallas. And that was, I've got a bunch of pictures from that. That was probably my top memory from the year is, we're three best buddies that played together, and we got to play on a line. And, we actually lost both games he played with us. But our coach actually threw Brownie out on like the 6-on-5 at the end of the game. He got a few great chances, and we had a blast. We, had some good fun nights in Oklahoma, and just to see him and his family come up and spend some time with us was probably the highlight of my season, was getting to hang out with, my two close buddies.
Yeah, no question. It's always fun playing with longtime friends, obviously. It's just a blast, and the ability to do that, of course, this past season is big. You mentioned don't make a big deal of my career. It's not like I had this big career, but you do have some people that know you, people that are fans, because I'm seeing one in our YouTube chat right now. Jared saying, Casey, former USHL Lancer. How about that? How about that little nugget of information that Jared is aware you played there back in the USHL days? They had a couple solid goalies while Casey was there with the Lancers. Thatcher Demko and Alex Lyon. Yeah, that's not bad, throwing out those names.
Oh, yeah, that was, I always bring that up. Watching those guys play in the NHL, and obviously Thatcher, I, played with him when he was a 16-year-old and I was a 20-year-old playing on Omaha. And kind of, he was one of the most hungry, eager goalies I ever played with. He always, I'd go out with him before every practice shooting on him. And I think, you could tell he was kind of destined for something great. I ended up playing against him again in college. And then Lyon, we and him were super tight and close. And you can, it's cool to see him in the NHL and see his personality still kind of similar to when he played with Omaha. He's got a bite. He's got a lot of personality, and he's obviously plays with a lot of motion, and he's obviously it was awesome watching him there in Buffalo.
Yeah, no doubt. What a season he had for the Buffalo Sabres, Alex Lyon. What a couple of seasons he's had, because you think about the fact a couple of years ago, the Florida Panthers, with Bobrovsky ailing at the time, they don't get in the freaking playoffs that season without Alex Lyon and the job he did down the stretch of the regular season. So, yeah, he's had some couple of decent runs, more than decent runs that he's been able to put together the last few years. Alex will be here in a minute. We'll recap Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final in a minute. I do want to mention what happened last night. I told all of you on Thursday that even though Friday there's no Stanley Cup Final, there's still big-time hockey going on. AHL Conference Finals and the ECHL and the AHL Conference Finals. We saw Colorado beat Chicago last night to go up 3-2 in that series. The Eagles over the Wolves. Game 6 will be this weekend, but Colorado a chance to finish that series going up 3-2. And a team that Casey played for one season, the Toronto Marlies, last night getting the job done. They beat the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins last night to take a 3-2 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. So Toronto will have two chances in Wilkes-Barre Scranton to win the series, with the of course the last two games of that series taking place. I get a kick out of it. Was he the play-by-play guy when you were with the Marlies, Todd Crocker? I think he might have been. I think he was. Maybe when you
Todd Crocker was definitely there, yeah.
He was. He kills me with his voice when he gets excited. Yeah. Cow and score. That's just something. He's something. Yeah.
He's all time.
He is.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that little melee between Colorado and Chicago before. I think that was, I don't know what game that was.
Yeah, they almost got into it right before the puck drop. Yeah.
Which is, you don't see a whole lot in the American League. That's bringing it back, back to when I was kind of first starting the American League. Obviously, before that, it was a little more of a jungle. But That's, you don't see that too much in the American League. ECHL a little more, but American League guys getting after it like that, that's good to see.
Yeah, it was. That's more of a FPHL, SPHL thing before the game, or LNAH
nowadays
thing,
for sure
up in Quebec. The LNAH league up in Quebec too. That's their thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gong Show League. Yeah. Yeah, that Quebec league, we've talked about it before. We've had people on the Players Suite before from that league with all the fighting going on in that Quebec league, that senior league. Oh, man. Yeah, Gong Show personified for sure. It was a bit of a Gong Show in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, believe it or not, on Thursday night. That was a heck of a game with Carolina, Vegas. Tremendous game. Game 1 was great. Game 2 was probably even better. It was a good start for Vegas. They got the first goal, quieted the crowd. How about Brett Howden? I didn't realize Brett Howden was turning into Wayne fucking Gretzky before our eyes here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Holy shit, that's 2 goals for him. And Casey, I'm sitting on Brett Howden plus 2,000 in this series to lead the series in goals. There's a real chance he may do that, lead this series in goals, because he right now is leading the series in goals. He gets the first 2 goals of Game 2 for the Vegas Golden Knights to give them that 2-0 lead. What a response by Carolina, though, to come back. Logan Stankoven, lights the match, that great individual effort to make it 2-1. And then, of course, the play that William Carrier, made, at the blue line to set up Jankowski, who's from my hometown, by the way, Dundas, Ontario, Mark Jankowski. What an incredible play to stay onside and win the puck battle and pass it over to Mark Jankowski, who wired it in past Carter Hart to tie the game. Buildings jumping. Looks like maybe Vegas has taken the lead, but they rule no goal. Tortorella challenges it, and I felt all along that because it was called no goal, it was going to stand that way. He'd lose the challenge. He did. They give him, Carolina gets the power play. Gostisbehere's shot tipped in by Jordan Staal, 3-2. Mark Stone ties it in the last minute. Insanity, and it goes to overtime. And Seth Jarvis, that whole line, Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, criticized for lack of production here in the playoffs, and Seth Jarvis steps up, one-timer on the power play to win Game 2 in overtime for Carolina and tie the series. Casey, it was a hell of a game.
Yeah, incredible. I think that, everybody said here we go again with Vegas going up 2-0 in the series, and we kind of got a nothing burger for the series. But incredible comeback by Carolina, and what an atmosphere that was in Carolina for that comeback. I mean, I don't know if you saw that clip from Game 1 where I don't know who it was that had no broadcaster audio, and they showed the clip. It's just the you have the in stadium volume, and just the building erupts. And it'd be awesome to go into Raleigh to check out a playoff game there. I think I played one game there back in my career in the NHL, and it was, I think there was a lot of open seats in the crowd. I think they're a little more pumped up now for this playoff series. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody, we talked about it before, everybody thought this series was kind of be a snooze fest. And I think it's been Game 1 and Game 2 have been nothing but excitement.
Yeah, they've been awesome. They've been absolutely outstanding. What are some of the players, Casey, in this series that have stuck out to you on both sides, Carolina, Vegas? For me, obviously Brett Howden. This is ridiculous what he's. Are you kidding? Like, this guy's got 13 fucking goals now in the playoff. 13 goals in the playoffs, smashing, what he was able to do on in the regular season. It's just incredible. Sometimes you just get one of these. Someone, I think Kiprios on one of the shows, he was talking about John Druce. Long time ago, was one of these guys where didn't score a lot in the regular season, then all of a sudden he went on the freaking heater of a lifetime in the playoffs, scoring goals. And it's kind of like what we're seeing, Casey, right now from Brett Howden.
Yeah, I mean, you have to mention Brett Howden. He's got, I think, 13 goals this playoffs, and he's been incredible. Another guy that's fun to watch for me is that Ian Barbashev. He's flying around the ice. I think he's got over 4 shots in each of the first 2 games. He's a fun player to watch. He's a wrecking ball. He's all over the place. He's a playoff type player. He's the kind of guy that'll help you win series. On Carolina's side, I mean, we talked about him a little bit. Shane Gostisbehere. I mean, he's helping push that offensive front that I think Carolina's been struggling with. And he's always involved in the play. He's always stepping up. He's obviously, we talked about it, a little more dynamic in the offensive zone than maybe is in the defensive zone, but I think he's been huge for them so far. And big goal in Game 1, and then obviously getting that shot through for Stalda tipped in game 2. He's just, he's kind of their backbone right now offensively for Carolina. So guys have been, I think, big leaders on their team to kind of drive the offense and get things going.
Yeah, there's no question. I like the call on him, Ivan. As I always sing on this show, Casey, when we mention him, close shave Barbashev, Ivan Barbashev here for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I think this series is made for him. Physical series. And especially the playoffs, I should say, as a whole. Like physicality ramps up, and he can play a physical brand of game. Ivan Barbashev, and that's I think what's impressive about him. Mitch Marner, of course, I think he had 2 points in the game as his magic carpet ride. Now that he's no longer in Toronto with the Maple Leafs, continues with what he was able to do, even in a losing cause in Game 2, in that 4-3 overtime loss. He set up Brett Howden on the first goal, and he ended up getting an assist on the Mark Stone goal in the final minute that ended up tying that game. So I would say he is still the betting favorite to win the Conn Smythe Trophy right now. Mitch Marner still leading in that regard.
I'm definitely pushing for Mitch to win the Conn Smythe. There's a video from an old training camp with Toronto where Mitch was just coming into the organization, and I think it was the year that I just signed with them, and I roomed with him and Jeremy Bracco at our, I forget what they call those things, prospects camp. And right. There's a clip of him calling me dad, which is, with Conn Smythe, it's kind of my claim to fame is, I was at one point Mitch Marner's dad for a prospect camp.
Well, you know what? He looked like an 8-year-old at the time, and actually, I still think he looks younger than his age, obviously, right now. But especially back then, I mean, the guy looks like a 7-year-old, really. I mean, no wonder he's probably calling you dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but to do what he does at his size is, he's obviously one of the greats in the league, and I'm happy for him being in this situation right now. I hope it continues and he gets that award. Obviously, like I said, I think there's a lot of people cheering for Carolina, them not winning the Cup for 20 years, but me being on the West Coast and I was affiliated with Vegas this year, I think I kind of have to go for Vegas.
All right. For me, I'm looking at it right now. I'm using Bet365, of course, Shop Around, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM. They all the major sports books. They've got the Conn Smythe Trophy odds right now. But Mitch Marner plus 145, Freddie Anderson plus 350, Taylor Hall plus 550. See, I don't think Freddie Anderson's winning it if Carolina wins the Stanley Cup. I don't think he is. I think if Carolina's going to win if you think Carolina's going to win the Stanley Cup, Taylor Hall plus 550. I think that's where you start looking at maybe a Conn Smythe potential. Logan Stankoven plus 650. I think is a great one. Logan Stankoven, I think, has got a real shot. Jackson Blake plus 1,600. Nikolai Ehlers plus 1,600. Seth Jarvis plus 3,300. Those are probably, Gostisbehere is all of a sudden on the board at 100-1, but it would probably take, a monster series to continue the way it's been going for Shane Gostisbehere to end up winning the Conn Smythe Trophy at this point. But I think if I were to take someone for the Hurricanes right now at the current prices, I'd be looking at Stanko will be number one because I think he's got a real shot to win it because from the start of the playoffs when he was on that heater to begin the Ottawa series in the first round, he scored the goal to get them going in Game 2. I think there's a real, Freddie, I know why he's favored because they like to give it to the goalie, but I think a lot of it has been obviously how good the defense has been in front of him. And then on the Vegas side, I think it's going to be tough not to give it to Mitch Marner. Brett Howden is suddenly 10-1. He is number 2 behind Mitch as far as Vegas Conn Smythe Trophy candidates right now. He's 10-1, Brett Howden right now, plus 1,000. I think he started the playoffs at not 100-1. It was even more than that, 300-1, I think. And here he is now 10-1 to win the Conn Smythe because of the absolute heater he is on. But I think at this point, it's Mitch Marner's Conn Smythe to lose if Vegas wins the Cup.
Well, it's kind of insane that Carter Hart's not mentioned on the Vegas side with what he's done throughout this playoffs, and I think
his has dropped to 100-1. His
everyone
actually
knows that the league
100-1 right now on Carter Hart.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows the league won't give him to him with all the backlash of the prior stuff that he's been through. So he's been playing incredible. I think you got to tip your hat to a guy that's come back and battled through adversity, and he's been really good.
He has been good. He's been excellent. And like I always say, I mean, I get people are still butthurt and upset and angry about him being allowed to play because of what happened in the past with the World Junior team and all that. Like I always say, I'm okay with it. You know, we deserve second chance. He was found not guilty. You know, the evidence didn't match. With what happened. And at the end of the day, he deserves. Now, if he screws up again, I'm not going to have any sympathy. But you give him a second chance. Like I say, learn from your mistakes. You know, we're only human, born to make mistakes. That was an 80s song, Human League. Look it up. Give second chances. We all deserve them. And I think, if he doesn't screw up this time, like I said, he's learned from his mistakes. That's all you can ask for. And he's playing great. You throw the personal stuff aside and what happened in the past. Just from a pure hockey standpoint, Casey, he's playing great right now in net for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's had a great playoffs.
Yeah, he's brought his team to Stanley Cup final. You know, he helped sweep one of the best offenses in the whole league. That you got to tip your cap to Jack Eichel. The way he shut down Nathan McKinnon was, I mean, that was being a U.S. guy, and Eichel's obviously one of our best U.S. players, and watching him shut down one of Canada's best players was fun to watch.
Yeah, no question. No question about that. All right, let's get into previewing, Casey, Game 3 here tonight as the scene shifts to T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Carolina, Vegas, we got pretty much even money here, minus 110 on both sides for Game 3. Series tied 1-1, total 5.5 here, shaded to the over in this game. This has got the feel to me right now. We saw Vegas take Game 1. We saw Carolina respond and take Game 2. I will say this. I think if you're talking about, and especially when we get deep into the playoffs, Casey, I think it's important to pay attention to periods 1. Periods 1. And what I mean by that is through 2 games, we've seen 6 periods of hockey plus an overtime. Which team has won more individual periods in this series? I think Vegas has so far. I would say, I think that's fair to say. Obviously, they were better in Game 1, in my opinion. And then, of course, in Game 2, they were better in the first period. They were better in the second period. And really, it was only the third period, where Carolina made that comeback and made that rally, and ended up obviously being enough to take the lead. And then Mark Stone tied it, and then they responded with the overtime winner. But to me, they've won more periods of the 6 periods plus OT in the first 2 games of this series, Vegas. And this does kind of feel like a back and forth series maybe starting to develop between these 2 teams, where you want to be backing the team. You want to be betting on the team off a loss here in this series. By the way, something for you to make a note of, Casey, is that with that win in Game 2 for Carolina, they are now 13-0 off a loss dating back to January. 13 straight times off a loss they have won, Carolina. They haven't lost back-to-back games since January. So that's a big part of why I was on Carolina in Game 2. Now, it was not easy, but we ended up getting there, and we took a piece of that, and Alex had it. Alex is not going to be able to join us. His foot's bothering him, but he's in the chat. Carolina and under 7.5, same game parlay. Boy, we just snuck under the total with that third period explosion of goals. But we did get there with the Carolina and under 7.5 parlay in Game 2 with that 4-3 overtime win for the Hurricanes. I think I like Vegas here tonight. They've been very good off a loss too. In fact, they've only lost twice. They've only lost 2 in a row, once I should say, in the entire Stanley Cup playoff so far, and that was way back in the Utah series. I think they lost Game 2 and Game 3 of that series back to back, the Vegas Golden Knights, and since then. Off a loss, they have been perfect. And I would expect a nice response from the Vegas Golden Knights here tonight in Game 3. So I'm going to take Vegas money line here, minus 110. I like them here. I think when you look at this series, they've still been, I would say, largely the team that's not controlled the flow, but they've had Carolina's had moments where they've had the better shot advantage. They haven't always done. It feels like Carolina's got to work harder, Casey, with the offensive zone time to make it happen compared to Vegas. Like, it seems like Vegas gets their fewer chances than Carolina, and they make the most of them more than Carolina. It's more of a grind, more of a struggle for them to finish the chances. It's more of a struggle for them to really be efficient with the ozone time that they get, Carolina. It's more of a challenge for them to be efficient in the ozone compared to Vegas. Do you agree with what I'm saying there?
Yeah, and that's what I'm on as well. I think Vegas has been arguably the better team in the series. Like you said, Carolina's had to work harder for their chances, and obviously game 2, kind of an unexpected comeback there, and caps off to them, but not a game you expect them to win, and a game they probably shouldn't have won. But here we are, and I think Vegas going back home is Saturday in Las Vegas. I think the building's going to be rocking. I think Vegas is going to come out, and it's going to be a tough game for Carolina.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, it's got one of those back-to-back. It's just got one of those back-and-forth series type of deals. We expect punch, counter punch. These are two really good head coaches, obviously, Rod Brindamore and John Tortorella. You expect, the teams to adjust, teams to be better, obviously, in situations like this, coming off a bit of a setback. Now, it'll be interesting. Carolina, they didn't make any lineup changes in Game 2 after losing Game 1. That being said, things were not going well after the first 2 periods. And of course, they were down 2-0. And then all of a sudden, in the third period of that game, Casey, we saw the blender come out. And Rod Brindamore ended up shaking up the lines, shuffling everything around in the third period. And that's kind of when things started to get going for Carolina. So he eventually did end up shaking up the lines in the third period. And, it's something that Rod has not done very often here in the playoffs, but he knew he had to try to get something kind of going. I think what's huge for Carolina is that they finally got the power play going. The power play for the Hurricanes has been one of the real bones of contention for them in this series. There's no question. Like, they have had real problems converting with the man advantage. It's killed momentum for them in games. Hell, you could say it killed momentum for them for a large part of Game 2 because they had power play chances in the first 2 periods. They did fuck all with those chances. Nothing. And it was even hard for them to really sustain really good pressure and really getting those high quality looks. And then all of a sudden, they end up getting the power play goal from Stahl at 3-2 after the unsuccessful challenge by Vegas. And then Seth Jarvis also on a power play in overtime ends up winning the game. So after a power play that couldn't hit anything, couldn't get anything done, all of a sudden, Casey, they come into Game 3 tonight with the power play goal that gave them a 3-2 lead, and then the power play goal that gave them the win in overtime, scoring twice with the man advantage. It's got to be a confidence builder for that unit, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think the fact that the over set at 5.5 here, I think that's a real nice line. I think with their power play getting going and Vegas being at home, I think we're going to see some goals. I think having Carolina find that offensive aspect, because they will get chances, and I think Vegas is going to answer. Like we said, I think Vegas is going to come back and win this game. But I like a back and forth game today. I think both teams are going to be scoring. I think everybody's excited. Both teams have a win. Both teams have some confidence behind their game right now, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, that's a brutal beat, Casey, for anyone on the under in Game 2. I mean, that was really, really tough. 2-0 going into the third. You've got under 5.5, and then all of a sudden it was an explosion of goals in the third period. And once, of course, it gets to 3-3, you've lost that bet. I mean, that's tough. But nevertheless, doesn't matter how it happens, Casey, but it's 2-0 to the over now in this series so far. And there hasn't been an adjustment in the total. I think at some point we're going to get one of those tighter checking, lower scoring games and defensive battles. But the problem is you would like to see the odds makers after 2 overs bump the total up to 6 or 6.5, which they often do. They haven't done that, though. This total is still 5.5, which to me makes it tricky, to bet an under when you've seen 2 overs so far in this series, and you haven't seen an adjustment upward yet in the total. It still stayed at 5.5. So I'm going to end up doing the over bifecta here tonight, over 1.5, over 5.5. That being said, there are a couple things I like as far as the under that I'm going to get involved with for an SGP. here tonight in this game. The first one that I'm going to be looking at here is, let me just see if I can get the prices up there. But there's a couple SGP kind of experimental things I'm going with here tonight in this game. But I'm going to look at, let me just see what the price is on this. Vegas plus 1.5, along with under 7.5, minus 140. It's a weird way to go about it, but I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on that, along with Vegas money line and under 7.5. Actually, I might just go Vegas money line and under 7.5, make the price a little bit better, because you never know. They could be up by 1, and then the empty net goal. If they were to, let's say they were to lose tonight, and Carolina up by 1, score an empty net goal, it busts your plus 1.5 on Vegas anyway. So the price it's probably worth it just to go Vegas money line and under 7.5. That's plus 135 at Bet365. I don't mind that, because I think it's asking a lot, I think, to get 8 goals tonight. Like, I don't think we're going to see that many goals between them tonight. But yeah, Vegas and under 7.5. Here's a bet I really like. I really like this one. I placed it earlier this morning. This is a same game parlay for this game as well. I think this is a great one. What have we seen so far through the first 2 games? We have seen close games, competitive games. I know Vegas was up 2-0 in game 2, but at the end of the day, it was a 1-goal game. It went to overtime. What did we see, obviously, in game 1? That was also a close game, a 1-goal game, but a 1-goal game as well. Game 1 between these 2 teams. So in the first 2 games of this series, final scores have been 5-4 Vegas, 4-3 Carolina. Both of these games decided by 1 goal. I think it's going to be hard for either team to gain separation. These are close teams. This is going to be a competitive series. There's going to be momentum swings. It's going to be hard for a team to get to that we're up by 3, we're up by 4, type of margin during this series. I think it's going to be still, we're going to see the pattern continue where it's going to be a 1 or 2 goal game, most of the time in this series. But you can take an same game parlay here for game 3. This is a good one. Now, I've talked about my game 7 SGPs that I like. Usually it's taking both teams plus 2.5 on the alternative puck line. I do this in game 7, Casey. Take both teams plus 2.5, and I go under 6.5 or 7.5. And I don't mind that tonight either for this game. But here's one that I went with. Carolina plus 2.5, Vegas plus 2.5, and both teams to score 2 goals. That is minus 110 for that. So Carolina plus 2.5, Vegas plus 2.5, both teams to score 2 goals, minus 110. I like that one. It's hitting game 1. It's hitting game 2 of this series. Both teams scoring 2 goals. And here all we need. And so basically what I'm asking for is this game to be no more than a 2-goal margin, regardless of who wins, and both teams to score 2 goals, which both teams have done so far in both games in this series. And it's minus 110. I love that SGP tonight. Carolina plus 2.5, Vegas plus 2.5, both teams to score 2 goals. There you go. Do you agree with that? You like it?
Yeah. I mean, I actually have a bet in right now. I've got both teams over 2.5. I mean, I think they're both going to score 3.
There you go. Yep.
And they have done that in game 1 and 2.
That's
I don't know.
correct.
I'm a big believer in Saturdays, or guys get a little more jacked up for a Saturday game, and we're switching arenas here. It'll be Carolina's first time in Vegas, and obviously a Saturday game in Vegas, the whole city and town's going to be buzzing. I think it's going to be. I'm big on goals tonight. I think it's going to happen, but yeah, I think your bet's definitely a little safer. I think I've got almost plus 200 odds on my bet. Obviously, it's a little less likely to hit, but I think that over 2 or 2 goals each and plus 2.5 each is a pretty sure lock.
Yeah, I just entered it right now because it's minus 110 for the safe one, right? The one that I already bet. Carolina plus 2.5, Vegas plus 2.5, both teams to score 2 goals, minus 110. I just entered it for Carolina plus 2.5, Vegas plus 2.5, both teams to score 3 goals. That one is plus 240. Yeah.
So you can maybe sprinkle a little on both.
Yeah. Yeah, you could make that one a smaller one.
It depends on your risk level and what you want to take.
Yep. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't at plus 240 at that price. I don't mind putting something on that because I think it's possible. But yeah, the one to be real safe is Carolina plus 2.5, Vegas plus 2.5. Both teams to score 2 goals here. And I'm also going to the opposite end of the spectrum. While we like the 2 goals and the 3 goals, and that's Vegas and under 7.5. And I might even do that plus 2.5, plus 2.5, and under 7.5 as well. Let me see what that is, because that's usually something I don't bet until game 7 of a series. I like to do that. Both teams plus, because I'll say this, Casey, 9 times out of 10, game 7s, it's decided by 1 goal, 2 at the most, and it goes under. 90% of the time in game 7s. So that is a great game 7 look. Both teams plus 2.5 and the under at like 6.5 or 7.5.
Yeah, I like that in probably any elimination game.
Yeah,
I think everything tightens up. That's the hardest game to win. Yep. And I mean, I'm excited to see what happens today. Obviously, I'm a fan of the game, and I respect both defense and offense. But being a forward and an offensive guy, I love to see goals. So that's what I'm hoping to see tonight.
Yeah, you know why I'm going all over the place here? Like I've got first period over 1.5, which is, by the way, still 6-1, I believe. In the last 7 Carolina playoff games, the first period over 6-1 run for the Carolina Hurricanes. Full game over 5.5 is cashed in both games, but I also could see, like I say, there's part of me that thinks it could really tighten up tonight at least a little bit. So that's why why I like the first period over, the full game over. That's why, and the both teams to score 2 goals attached to both teams at plus 2.5 on the puck line. I'm also kind of going the other route with the plus 2.5 tied with under 7.5, as well as the Vegas money line tied with under 7.5 tonight as well. So we got a bunch of bets. They'll all be up on Patreon. If you're confused, I apologize if I'm confusing the viewers and the listeners, but they'll all be up on Patreon later on in the day. Every single bet. So sides, totals, player props. But like I said, we're kind of trying to. What would be ideal is we hit everything, right? We get something in the 6 or 7 goals in the game range, right? If we get exactly, Casey, 6 goals or 7 goals in this game, and it is a 1 or 2 goal game for either team, especially if Vegas wins, because I do like Vegas to win. Like if it's Vegas 4-2 or 4-3 in this game tonight, we're going to be making some money, a good amount. Yeah.
Yeah. That's obviously you always like to predict what you think is going to happen, and 4-3 would be right on the money.
Yeah. To me, Grant Clarkson says you got to pound both teams to score 2. There is no way there's going to be a shutout or one team. Yeah, it hasn't been that kind of series, and I don't. You know what I don't love too, especially on the Carolina side, it feels like it's not taking many quality chances and shots to beat Freddie Anderson right now. I'm a little bit worried for Freddie again, and I don't want to come crashing down on the guy because I was harsh on him during the regular season. Because let's be honest, he fucking sucked during the regular. It's terrible. He was very, very bad during the regular season. It was terrible. I can't say it enough how bad Frederik Andersen was during the regular season. But we do have to give him some flowers now. He was great in the first round, great in the second round. Very good against Montreal, though I thought there was a slight dip in his play against Montreal, but he was still very good. This series, he hasn't been anything special, to be honest with you, in the first 2 games. So I'm a little bit worried here. And I don't know if it's fatigue. This is a guy that's, well into his 30s. Maybe he's getting a little worn down, Frederik Andersen. But at the same point in time, I don't think his play's nearly been as good here in this series. So that's why it's for me, it's a hard time thinking that even with that great suffocating defense of Carolina, and we usually think, man, they outshoot the team heavily. High volume of shots. The other team doesn't generate much. The other team doesn't get many shots on goal. But then at the end of the day, in this series, Casey, in this matchup against Vegas, we've got a Carolina team that's allowed 8 goals in the 2 games in this series combined. So maybe, they're just not going to be able to completely shut down the Golden Knights in this series.
Yeah, they're not able to suffocate them as much as they were throughout the Eastern Conference playoffs. I think they've ran into a juggernaut of an offensive team who, has gone through teams like Dallas and Colorado, and they've just been playing really good hockey. I think they've built kind of a juggernaut team there in Vegas. Obviously, you got an owner with a lot of money who's not scared to throw it around. And that's been their MO throughout the entire organization's existence. So, I think you can look back to, Freddie kind of struggled when he was in Toronto. The spotlight's always on you in Toronto. Now he's in the Stanley Cup Finals. He's got a big spotlight on him. Maybe before and throughout the playoffs, he didn't have as much pressure on him. But now you're in the Super Bowl. You're in the mecca of the playoffs, and he's got probably a little more media availability, and he knows a little more in the spotlight. I don't know if that's getting to him, but it seems like he's looking more like his Toronto playoff days right now.
Yeah, that's like I said. Was he on the Leafs when? Yeah, you played just like you were with the Leafs only for a handful. That he wasn't at that time. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, no,
at that time.
He wasn't there when I was with the Leafs.
No. Who the hell was the goalie back then? It was like 2016-ish, I believe.
Bernier and
that's right, Jonathan Bernier, Mr. Nelson Mandela. That's right. Yeah.
Reimer was with us.
Oh yeah, James Reimer was still with the Leafs at the time. Yeah, yeah, and Bernier.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is going back in time. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. By the way, if you don't know what the hell why I'm saying that about Bernier, Mr. Nelson Mandela, just look it up. You'll find it. Yeah, pretty funny stuff.
All right, I'll look that up.
He thought Nelson Mandela played hockey. But anyway, go see the clip. It's absolutely freaking hilarious. But nevertheless, good stuff. Prop-wise, as far as that goes, with the props here, William Karlsson. By the way, William Karlsson's gone over 1.5 shots on goal in 5 straight games. That is definitely something to look at. It's over 1.5 shots for him is -125. Jordan Martinook, Jordan Staal, they've both gone over 1.5 shots on goal in 3 straight games. Martinook and Staal for the Hurricanes, and it's over 1.5 at plus money. So those are shots on goal props that are probably worth a look here tonight as well. Close shave Barbashev. Ivan Barbashev has gone over 1.5 shots in 2 straight games. Brett Howden, the most red-hot playoff performer right now. He's gone over 1.5 shots, 2 straight games. Rasmus Anderson for Vegas on the blue line has gone over 1.5 shots in 2 straight games as well. So those are all players you may want to target for shots on goal props tonight. For point props, how about our guy, Gots to be here, Shane Gostisbehere. 5 straight games with a point for him, and his point prop is still plus money, like +115, +116 for Shane Gostisbehere. Ivan Barbashev, 2 straight games with a point. That's also in the plus money range, +105 or so. Brett Howden, Tomas Hertl, 2 straight games with a point. That's also in the +110 range. Jordan Staal, the captain for Carolina, has points in back-to-back games. That's around +160. The goal props, Brett Howden and Jordan Staal have scored in back-to-back games for their respective teams. We've got also 3 of the last 5 games, goals from Mark Stone, Logan Stankoven, Shane Gostisbehere. They've all chipped in. We saw, of course, Logan Stankoven get on the board in game 2. So definitely some of those props are of interest, at least for me. How about the man, the block shots king right now, by far? I think you almost have to bet this when you see the streak he's been on, Casey. Jalen Chatfield for Carolina on the blue line. He has gone over 1.5 blocked shots in 7 straight games. 7 straight for Chatfield. Over 1.5 block shots. And again, the price on that is just -110. So, hard to pass that up with what we have seen from him. And it's probably a really good night to take that as well, because you'd think Vegas at home, after losing game 2, maybe they won't be dominated as far as shot volume is concerned nearly as much tonight by Carolina. So that's probably something worth a look here as well. So those are some of the props that I am interested in for this game here tonight. I was going to wait. We usually run the ads, and then we do bargain bin special of the night and best bet. But we are talking to a guy with a child on the way in Casey. So I think we'll let him go here in the next few minutes. We'll get the bargain bin special and best bet from him for game 3 tonight before we run the ads. So we'll do that right now. But Casey, great stuff. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about this game before we get to bargain bin special of the night and your best bet?
No, I think I'm excited for it. I think as a fan, it's been a great series so far. I think we're getting into unseen territory right now, moving over to the West, and we'll see how Carolina does on the road coming all the way to Vegas.
No doubt. Like I said, this has been a great series so far. 2 great games. We will see if we get another one here tonight. All right, first time ever on the Ice Guys show for Casey Bailey, and it's first time for Bargain Bin Special of the night from him. What have you got for us, Casey, as far as a Bargain Bin Special of the night? I think you said there was 2 that you liked for sure.
Yeah, I think I've already chosen the one I'm going to go with. We were talking about shots. You mentioned it, Ivan Barbashev, over 1.5. You parlay that with Noah Hannafin over 1.5. He's not running Vegas's top power play, but he's out there on the second unit. That top power play is obviously all. But I think he's had 4 shots in each game 1 and game 2, Noah Hannafin. And obviously the Olympics being this year, and he was a fun guy to watch. I think both those guys over 1.5 shots gives you plus 345 on my Caesars app. And I think that's I like the odds of that happening pretty well.
All right, there you go. So that is a parlay, a block shot parlay there.
No, that's shots on goal.
Shots on goal. Sorry.
Ivan Barbashev and Noah Hannafin.
Noah Hannafin. There you go. Over 1.5 shots on goal. Ivan Barbashev, Noah Hannafin. There you go. And is there anything else at plus 300 or better that you wanted to mention? Is there a second one? I think, was there another one you liked?
Yeah, it's not really lining up with what you had, but I have Vegas money line and over 6.5. So I'm seeing a potential 5-3, potential 4-3, or
how about 4-3, 5-2? So I can get under 7.5.
Would be perfect. So over 6.5 and Vegas money line. I can see a 4-3, 5-3 game.
There you go. All right, I like it. So 2 bargain bin specials: the Barbashev Hannafin over 1.5 shots on goal parlay at a great plus price, and also, of course, that Vegas money line and over 6.5 parlayed together for Casey Bailey for his 2 bargain bin specials of the night. All right, best bet for Game 3, Casey. What do you got?
Best bet is kind of what we've been going on this whole time. I've got Vegas money line. I think Vegas is going to come back and win this game. You can get it at almost even money. I think that's the lock of the night for me. Best bet.
Vegas to bounce back, and we are in agreement there. I do think Vegas will bounce back and take a game 3. These are just, these are 2 really good teams, 2 really good coaches, and you expect off a loss, the team that lost the previous game to have a good response. Carolina, we know it's 13 in a row for them off a loss that they have won. But for Vegas, they've only lost 2 in a row once these entire playoffs. They've been good at bouncing back too. So Vegas money line, Vegas minus 110 for Casey Bailey with his best bet for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final. Casey, anything you want to say before we get you on out of here? But great stuff. Amazing debut here on the Ice Guys. Anything you want to add?
No, thanks for having me. It's been fun. We're excited to follow the game tonight. I hope we all win some money. It'll be a lot of fun.
No doubt. And like I said, we've got some props for the series that are live. We're cheering on Brett Howden to be the leading goal scorer, and we've got a real shot with that at plus 2,000 was the price on that. So we're going to hope Brett Howden.
I am riding Brett Howden anytime goal scorer. I mean, I think it's like 76% hit rate right now. So it's, you might as well ride it while it's hot.
The problem is I can't, and I'll get to my bargain bin special after the ads. The problem is I can't use him as bargain bin special material tonight because he's finally priced at below plus 300. That's the I
think it's plus 260.
Yep, there you go. And this is for the first time during this run that he is not at least plus 300 to score a goal. But I'm still betting it, obviously. I mean, he's been that good as far as finding the back of the net, but just can't use it for bargain bin special of the night. Casey, awesome stuff. We'll let you get on out of here. Great job. Enjoy the game tonight. Let's make some money, and we'll definitely get you back on the show again down the road. We'll get Casey in on a player suite interview recording during the summer sometime over the off season whenever he can fit it in his schedule, and we'll get more into the career journey, the career background, and the stories along the way. And some of the experiences Casey had in the decade plus playing professionally. So we'll get into that with a player suite show for Casey later in the summer. Casey, good stuff, my friend. Enjoy the game tonight and good luck, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, thanks for having me in.
Good stuff. There we go. Casey Bailey with us here on the Ice Guys show. Great stuff from him. All right. Alex is in the chat. Unfortunately, the foot, like I said, still in a little bit of pain, but we'll get his plays mentioned. And at the they'll certainly be up on Patreon for Alex. We'll see if he hasn't sent me his card yet, so the Patreon page will have it later, so make sure you check that out. WizardSportsPicks.com, NHL, Stanley Cup Final, NBA Finals, MLB, CFL now underway as well. It's been a good start to the CFL season already in week 1. So make sure you check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. And, of course, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month, goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Today it'll be a Stanley Cup Final betting card, but on the days now with no Stanley Cup Final game, we will have plays from me in baseball, other sports. Whenever there's something Alex likes in boxing or UFC, we'll get that posted as well. So again, make sure you check it out, patreon.com. We're going to do Player Suite interviews over the summer months as well. Casey will be on for one of those. We've got some others lined up as well. Player Suite interview series recordings that will be exclusive to our Patreon members during the off season. Free agency recap show in July will be exclusive to our Patreon members during the off season as well. So again, make sure you check it out. $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. And of course, the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got 20% off all items at the Ice Guys store currently. So make sure you take advantage of that discount offer. 20% off everything at the Ice Guys store over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bet coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night for Game 3 Stanley Cup Final. Casey mentioned his Barbashev and Hanifin over 1.5 shots on goal parlay, and his other one was Vegas and over 6.5 parlay. Bargain bin special of the night for me, as usual, 1 Hurricane, 1 Golden Knight. As far as bargain bin special for Carolina, I'm going to the captain, Jordan Staal. He's really picking it up. He's now scored in consecutive games, plus 500. Jordan Staal, the captain of the Carolina Hurricanes, for my first bargain bin special of the night. My second bargain bin special of the night, we're going to go back to a guy that has already scored once in this series. It was back in Game 1. Close shave Barbashev. Ivan Barbashev, plus 360 for the Vegas Golden Knights. So Carolina, Jordan Staal, plus 500. And for Vegas, Ivan Barbashev, plus 360 for my 2 bargain bin specials here for this Game 3 Saturday night between Carolina and Vegas. Oh, by the way, I think, let me just see. Alex, we're on the same fucking bargain bin. Barbashev, too, for Alex B. Smith, plus 3. There we go. We got a dual bargain bin special. Alex and I both liking Ivan Barbashev here tonight for Vegas at plus 360. All right, best bet. We already mentioned it for Casey. He likes Vegas. Money line, minus 110. Alex's best bet, Vegas first goal of the first period, plus 135 is the price for that. So there you go. Vegas, first goal, first period, plus 135 for Alex with his best bet. My best bet, I'm going with Casey on this one. Vegas minus 110. Vegas minus 110. I just think it's going to be one of those series where I expect bounce backs. I expect back and forth, ebb and flow. 2 very good teams, 2 very good coaches, teams that go the extra mile to be ready for the next game after losing the previous game, dial in the details even more. And I would expect that tonight from the Vegas Golden Knights back home after that Game 2 loss in overtime. So Vegas minus 110 for my best bet here for Game 3 tonight. All right, shout out to everyone. I did just realize, there we go. Got to change the graphic. Best bet, Vegas minus 110. So to recap with the best bets, my best bet and Casey Bailey's best bet, both Vegas minus 110. And Alex is going with the first goal, first period for Vegas plus 135. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Casey Bailey, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday and a great weekend. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we won't be back until Tuesday. And Tuesday's a big day. We've got Game 4, and it's a betcast night. Free-for-all betcast for Game 4, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as well. So a big Tuesday coming up, including the Daily Show at 2 p.m. Eastern for Game 4 right here on the Ice Guys.